Well, we are live. Hi,
Hi,
Gill.
Giovanni. How are you?
I'm fine, I'm fine. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm just hoping the rain doesn't start because it'll be very noisy in my conservatory if it does, but never mind.
It's gonna be nice. It will be like being in the Amazon forest, like with the rain and the light. It could be nice. Out here, I have the view of outside, and I can barely see outside the window because there is all the fog. So,
Oh dear. We've had bad rain this morning. In fact, some areas of the around us have been flooded, so that's not great news for a lot of people. But at the moment, it's sunny.
okay. So I noticed there is something missing, so I'll start with one announcement for the week. Shall we see who
Okay,
won this week's project of the week on Stampers Worldwide?
that would be lovely.
So let's see. There we go. Mila Correa with this beautiful project that came out last week using the collection by Sarko Bendas, Atelier des Arts. What do you think about it?
It's a fabulous project, and I love all the texture on the drawer handles. They're lovely. I've got some of those molds, and I'm going to be making a project in the next few weeks with them.
It looks really nice because today you have a big project for us too, right? It's a large project to do.
I do have a project. It's very large. I step back.
Very nice.
So it's a little mini album.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite dimensional. If I undo the strings at the side, on both sides, you'll be able to see actually how it opens if I desperately don't knock them up.
Let me make you bigger, just a sec. There you go. Okay. Very nice. So, all right. Yes.
It starts like this, and then it opens like this.
Beautiful.
And each of these has a tag or a card or a pocket or something to pull in and out. So we're going to probably make the album base, and then we'll see where we're up to with time, because I think there's probably an awful lot of inserts that will take us forever to do. But if it becomes too much for the live, then I will blog on the That's Crafty blog the card inserts, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, so that everyone can see the whole project and make it if they want to.
All right, perfect. Yes. So I have a couple announcements to make for the rest of the week. Let me see. So, friends, I don't see what Omar left. So let me start with the big announcement that we have regarding the Stamperia art contest, which is coming back.
Oh, fantastic!
Yep. So what is happening is that we are going to have again, like last year, which was really appreciated. We are going to have a contest with people from all around the world. Last year it was so many from South America, US, basically those places. We didn't have a lot. Oh no, we also have from Asia. We need participants from Africa. If you know people from Africa who are into arts and craft, tag them in this, because we need to find people that are not from the usual 4 continents. Also Oceania, we had a lot of people. So, great. What shall we do to participate is post the best project that we have with the hashtag Stamperiathon21. You're going to receive it in the newsletter. Don't worry. It's going to be there in. You're going to receive it by the end of the day.
Very good.
Then, second big announcement. What is coming soon? New collections are coming out tomorrow.
So, fantastic!
Yes, it's going to be really big. We expect it to be really appreciated, as most of the times they are, but we never know. And while you set up your screen, I would like to put to put a little teaser for what's coming in tomorrow's lunch. Okay.
That sounds like a good plan, Giovanni.
So every time when I do this, I'm talking to Omar and he's explaining me how to do my job because I forget how to do these things. And really like, where is this graphics? And he has to explain, Giovanni has to do this. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me put on this thing that I wanted to show, and there it is. Okay, if you want to switch your camera to see your project, here is a little teaser of what is coming out tomorrow, which I think you will appreciate it. Please tag someone who is going to like this collection. Okay, enough with this. I cannot show you more. I'm sorry. So.
Right.
All right, so Omar told me to go to the calendar and open the pictures. Okay. Let's start with your project, and meanwhile, I will disappear in the back to show. Yes, Samantha, today, while we had the meeting, we were also working on this part, but it was too soon to reveal anything. So, yes, I know you're going to appreciate some more, Alice. It's our first sequel. If your shop doesn't have it, contact your shop by the end of the week and tell them that they have to place the order, because only the ones who will put the pre-orders will have it in the first round. So careful there. Okay, now you have the whole screen. Gill, can you please turn the camera? Perfect. Very good.
There we are.
Now it's perfect. Yes.
I think not. It looks upside down.
No, it's fine. It's very good.
Okay. Sorry, it's the delay on the camera that was confusing me.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. It looks good. Maybe I come down a little bit.
Yes. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Sooner we're gonna be on all the young people stuff like Twitch and TikTok and all that stuff. So please make sure that you follow us on all of the social media and to share the live. Oh, there we go. Okay, guys. Omar gave me where to find the thing. No? Okay, never mind. Okay, so what are we doing now?
So what I've done is taken a piece of gold stone paper, which is DFPCA4G, and cut it so it's 16.5 centimeters long and 9 centimeters wide.
Okay.
And then I've added a piece of rice paper, which comes from DFSA 3080. Okay. And then I'm going to glue the rice paper on with some mixed media glue.
Okay.
Because this will not only glue it down, but it will also act as a protective coat for when the album is being used.
Okay.
And I'm going to add a layer over the top.
Okay. I like your table. It looks very nice. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So the rice paper comes from one of the Vagabond collection of rice papers, and it's called Locomotive Parts.
Locomotive Parts.
It's a very versatile rice paper.
Do you happen to have the code?
I'm just going to trim it.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find the code of this product. Let's see. So stamperia.com.
My packet has just fallen on the floor, but if you wait, if you
Don't
can't,
worry. I got it.
Sit down and get it.
It's fine. I have it. It is the. I might be wrong, but it might be the. No. These are scrapbooking pads. Sorry. Okay, you guys do your thing. I will be right back with you. So here. It should be this one. Let me know if it's not right. Word of the internet. Okay.
It's in the list of products that I gave to Omar, so it shouldn't be so difficult to find for people who want to use it. Okay. And then I've repeated the rice paper on the other side of my piece of stone paper, because both sides will be visible when we finish the album. Okay. And then
it's really nice to see the hellos from the comments, because they're getting always longer. They're like, hi Sue, Crafty, Belinda, Roberta, May, Selena, Mukita, David, Ron, Sabine, Moika, Caro, Margolini, and then somebody answers with more and more names. It's becoming a whole list. Okay.
So
Okay.
So having done that on both sides, I'm just going to pop this to one side to dry, and we're going to move on to the next part, because I knew that there was quite a lot of drying time to do for this project.
Very nice. So with the gray board now, okay, from Voyage Fantastique.
So for my project, on the front cover, I've used the grey board train, which is KLSPDA 426, and on the back piece, I've used KLSPDA 427.
KLSPD 47.
This and doing all of the pushing out and all the painting. I've pre-prepared the balloon, so they're already dried, and I'm going to show you how I decorated the train.
Okay, very well. Yes, Jill, can you please remind me your social media so everybody can follow you?
So my social media sites are Gill Humphrey, just my name, and I also have a page called The Crafty Surgeon that I post lots of my makes on.
The Crafty Surgeon.
Okay. The Crafty Surgeon, and that's because I am a surgeon in real life. So that's why the name, and the crafting keeps me sane from a job that's quite busy.
All right. I really like your name, The Crafty Surgeon. All right, perfect. So, Jill, where are you from? They're asking.
So where am I from? I'm from Manchester, England, which is a city that's well known for being very, very wet. Yeah. Always very, very wet.
All right, and for two of the biggest soccer teams that I can name. In the
So
Oasis. Correct.
what I've done is I'm really not a football fan at all, Giovanni. So
Me
I know
neither. Me
that there
neither.
are lots of people who are. So for my train grey board, I'm using 3 of the Allegro colours. So Magagno 10, which is KAL 103, Cappuccino KAL 90, and Torricino KAL 53. And you'll have to forgive me because my pronunciation is probably not very Italian, but that's how I say those words. And I'm very grateful that you've changed the naming of the pack on the new packet so that they're in English, because that makes my life much easier. So 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 I've got my grey board, and I took my inspiration from actually the packet that the grey board comes in, because it helps you by showing you a suggestion as to how to layer and get the most of them. Yes, I picked my own colours and I've added my own things, but if you use the grey board packet pieces, then it will give you an idea as to how to assemble the pieces and an idea about grading colours for you. So all I'm going to do now is give my my grey board the different pieces of my grey board a coating with the paints that I've said. So which is, I'm sorry, it's maybe a bit boring, but it's an essential part. And as I say, I have already done the cogs that I've used, and also the hot air balloon. And I know that also in the set that that goes with the collection, the Voyages Fantastic Collection, there's also a grey board of a large bike that again will would work very well if you didn't like the balloon or wanted something that was just a little bit different to my project. But so lots of options on the website and in the shops for what you want to get for for decorating and embellishing. One of the joys of working with the Stamperia products, of course, is the fact that everything works together, and you've got the papers in various sizes, you've got the new collectibles, and I've used the 8x8s, the 12x12s, and the collectibles in this make. Then you've got the coordinating decorative chips and also the grey boards, and then of course all of your paints work so very well with the collections, making life really easy to get a project that becomes that's cohesive and works really well together. So this might not be my best example of painting, but it's going to have to do, otherwise we might be here for an awful long time. And watching someone paint is never the most interesting activity in this world, and it is going to be lead, so it'll be fine at the end of the day.
We love listening to you. You have such a great accent to listen to, and you make such beautiful projects. We could stay here the whole day. So don't worry. And if you hear somebody snoring, is because of him. Let me see if I can. She is snoring quite loudly. So in case.
I hope that I'm not going to send people off to sleep, but there you are. You never quite know, do you? Everyone has their own things that they like. So the next part of the train is being painted with the cappuccino, and there's quite a few pieces that work with that. It doesn't really matter if you get them wrong, but you can work it out and mix them up to suit yourself. If you don't want brown, you could have your train in quite bright, vibrant colors. It's just that for me, this color range worked really well with with the papers that I chose to make my project with. So that's why I went for these. So I've done quite a lot of prepping for these. There we are. Right, okie dokie. So, and then the last ones won't take so long. They're a bit smaller, so I've just, and then these can sit and dry before and we'll get on with constructing the album. But I've done it in this order because of the requirement for different pieces to dry along the way. And if they dry well enough, they'll pop out. I would say that when you're painting the chipboard, don't overly saturate it, because it is layers of cardboard put together, and so you will split the cardboard if you get the grey board if you get it very wet.
Okay.
But accidentally propping it up against a pack of open baby wipes is so not a good thing. And I wonder why I know that. That would be because, of course, because I've done it. But there you are. So, let's do the next bit. So the next bit is to make our album. And as you see, I've prepped quite a lot of the bits.
Wow, it's a lot of preparation. Okay.
But I think if we by prepping a lot of the stuff beforehand, it just makes life easier. So to make the album, it's the front and the back pages of the album, I've used Mount board, and this is about 2 or 3 millimeters thick, and I've cut it to 16.5 centimeters square.
Okay.
Okay. And then we will use our favorite glue to adhere it in place. And I've chosen from the 8x8 paper pack, the time machine paper, and also the one with the maps on it.
Okay. Do you like these 8x8?
I do like the 8x8. I like the fact that we've got papers in different sizes, because that way you can mix and match what you use, and the paper, it means that the images are all in proportion to what you want. So you can change and grade your shapes, which I think is really useful. If you just always chop down a 12 by 12, then your focal images are literally just the size that the 12 by 12 comes in, and that's maybe not always going to give you an element that works. So for my album, for instance, this 8x8 works perfectly for my back. If I was to put the 12 by 12 on it, I would lose a lot of the details of the clock. The fact that I'm going to lose quite a lot anyway is beside the point, because I'm going to cover up quite a lot of this, but it gives me the options. So now having coated the grey board with the mixed media glue, I have now stuck my piece of paper, and I'm going to miter my corners. Now, when you're mitering the corners, and it took me ages to work out that this was required. It's really important at this corner here to leave a space that's about the depth of the board that you're using, because if you don't, then it doesn't fold round nicely. So I'm deliberately cutting my angle just away from the corner of my my grey board piece, because that way
sorry.
Go on.
I'm glad you said that you like these different formats, because there is another surprise coming out tomorrow about scrapbooking pads formats. So again, stay tuned for news. Okay, and also we have the same scissors. Excellent.
Well, I think they're universal, aren't they? Those particular brand of scissors. They just cut through anything. You can really abuse them. It really doesn't seem to matter very much what you throw at them. So all I'm doing now is folding over my pieces. I am making sure I don't leave glue on my surface, because otherwise I will stick it down. And I've deliberately done top and bottom, and then I'm going to do the two sides, because I find that is easier for me. And all I'm doing is easing the paper up and over the board, and then giving it a good rub down. I'll wipe off that extra.
Okay.
Turn it round, and we'll do the other side. And because I know that this is going to be the front cover, I've got another piece of paper that's cut to about 16 by 16 that I'm going to then adhere onto the back of this. Right, I'm just making sure I've got that round the right way, because the numbers of times I'll adhere things up the wrong way is anyone's business. So, and I think we're all the same. We get excited, we get carried away with what we're doing, and then suddenly we find that actually we've glued something on upside down, and then trying to pull it apart without damaging what you're doing is never much fun. Now, in my original, I inked all of my edges with a brown archival ink. I don't have the Stamperia one, so I used another well-known branded one, but it's entirely up to you what you use to cover your edges, or whether you just leave them completely plain. It really is there are lots of options that mean that even if you're broadly following a project that you've seen, you can still ultimately make the project truly your own and just use the existing one as an inspiration board. And of course, that's what's so important, isn't it, about crafting and being able to do things like this. It's about being able to share inspiration and ideas for other people to then take in their own directions. And it's really nice seeing how people do take things in their own directions. So this piece that I'm gluing on now is actually for the back cover.
Okay.
And I'm going to mitre the corners again. So I'm sorry that there's a little bit of repetition, but somehow there isn't any choice really. If you're making a project live, there are things that just have to be done.
Repetition makes perfection, no worries.
Well, I think you just sometimes have to. Now I've put my brush down and there we are. So.
Look, this is one of the best times of my day because usually I'm in like sales meetings or accounting meetings. So this is very relaxing. I just have to look at your projects and enjoy. So don't worry, take your time. When you're done, I have to go see bad credits and stuff like that. So it's fine.
I definitely don't like the sound of an accounting meeting, that's for sure. Sounds very boring, but I'm sure as a business owner, it's absolutely essential. So I'm just going to tuck those little corners in on this one and fold it over and give it a good push down and a little burnish. You could use a bone folder. I've actually just got a wet wipe here that I'm using, but that's fine. It's what works for you. Stick that in the wash before it gets gummed up, and there we are. So there we are. So we now have the front cover, which is covered on both sides, and the back cover, which is only covered on the back.
Okay.
And we're going to add in some pieces of ribbon. So and ribbon is actually the only thing that you're missing, I think, at the moment from your range. So big hint, Giovanni, we all could do with some nice shabby ribbons that will work for albums and for tags and the rest of it, that color coordinate. And I really do like some of the, yes, absolutely.
You know, Dota has been pushing for it for a while, you know.
Has she indeed? Well, I promise you, she hasn't paid me to say that. So I've just got some tape, because for me that's going to be easiest and quickest. You could use glue, and I'm just going to tuck these in a couple of centimeters up from the bottom.
Gloria is asking if you have a shop. You don't, right?
I don't have a shop. No, I'm a full-time surgeon. So I definitely don't have time to run a shop. But the shop in the UK, Gloria is in Canada. So I think she struggles to get Stamperia products out there. I don't know why, so the shops in the UK that I would use is That's Crafty. That's who I design team for, one of the companies I design team for. And so for me, that makes life easy because you go to the company I design for, or make things for. So there we are. and you can see I'm a no measure type of girl for many things. And so to make sure my ribbons are in the right place, I've literally just lined them up rather than actually having to measure anything. They're a couple of inches up from the bottom, not much more than that.
Okay.
And I did have 4 pieces of ribbon a minute ago. There it is. You see, everything goes walkabouts on a crafter's desk. It never stays in the same place. But there you are. There we are. Good. So we now have
I like how the colors work together.
And our back cover sorted. Okay. And now we need to join them up. So thankfully, my rice paper piece is now dry, which is good. And I have scored it 1 centimetre in along the short, on both sides along the short edges.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to cheat because it's quick, but and it's a slightly risky strategy because it doesn't give you much wriggle room if you get it wrong. So I'm just going to pop some tape, so red liner tape or some really strong tape. I just find it gives me added instant grip. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the Ultra Forte glue for some wriggle room. If I wasn't making it live, I would probably not bother with the tape. I would just use the glue and then stick it, and just squash it and allow it to work. And so all I'm going to do now is line this up along the bottom.
Okay.
Here. And because I've used the tape, I've got a pretty much instant stick there. And then we're going to repeat the same on the back. And at this point, it's really important that you get it orientated round the right way. Otherwise, again, we'll have the same set of headaches of things upside down and back to front. So that's the bit I want that way.
Okay.
So let's pop that down there. And sometimes I think it's quite good to use multiple, layers of different tapes and glues, because then if one fails in the future, you've got the security of a different type of glue.
Okay.
And I would only ever use construction type tape. I would never use, ordinary, just plain ordinary crafters double-sided tape. It would always have to be construction quality tape for me, because otherwise you'll find that over time the glue on the tape dries out and then you're left with pieces falling off your project. So that now is the base for our album. So I hope that makes sense to everyone so far. So I'm going to pop that out of the way and grab the next packet. Now there is a lot of repetition in the next step. So I've done quite a lot of the layers already to make life easy, but I'm just going to show what I did with my envelopes so that we can see what's going on, and hopefully that will then make life easier. So I took the Vagabond Clocks and Borders stamp set, KTKA T18, and I've used throughout my album all 3 of the different steps in it. So one page has got the cogs, the next one the blocks, the next one the lines, and then I've repeated it. And as I've done this, I've made sure that the ones on the matching sides are the same. So does that make sense?
Yes,
through there.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to add my next piece to that. So I've got cogs on this side. That's going to be attached to that. So I'm going to take my cogs stamp, and you don't need a mat. You just need some archival ink. I've actually used a couple of different colours, a brown and a green, but it really, as I say, doesn't matter. Any that are available that are completely handy to you will work. And all I'm going to do is give it an ink and a good squash down. But as I say, I've used all three of the stamps in the set so that each part is different. And it's important to do this because as the album opens up, actually you can see the inside pieces of these pockets. So it's quite nice to have some detail on the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. So as I said, I've got a stack of 9 of those envelopes already. They're 6-inch square craft card envelopes, so relatively cheap and easy to source. I've put a piece of my beloved tape down here. And then all you need to do is then carefully, because you need them to be even. Otherwise, when you try and open them, they go off kilter and it doesn't look brilliant. So those are my facts. So that was the next piece that will sit into the album. So if I now take my album and make sure I've got it aligned properly, on the side that's going to be at the front of the album, it's really important that you only glue this part of the envelope. Yeah, the piece on the top, because otherwise that.
Which part? Where you have the fingers now?
Absolutely, here where I've got my fingers now. So if I pop some, there's plenty in here, honestly there is.
Okay.
So if I just pop some glue on the bit that I think should have the glue on it, you can see where the flap of the envelope goes here. So that's the envelope flap. I have deliberately I've pushed it inside, but I've deliberately not put any glue on that inside flap. She says, having squashed glue into it. And this piece now aligns evenly on the back of the front cover. And the reason I put the paper on the back of it is you can see part of it, and that needs to dry. I'll show you that again when it's set. And now we can glue the back piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Needs to align. Now this is where you need to be slightly careful because I've left that expanding element here. So at this point you need to make sure that you align your two covers together, and the wet glue gives you the wriggle room to do that. Okay, so that now needs to dry, otherwise when I try and open it I'll pull them off, and it won't take the Ultra 40 very long to dry, but it does now need to dry before I can do anything else with that. So I'll pop that out of the way, and we're going to return to our grey board, and then I'm going to just now push these pieces out. And I find that even if I paint them in the grey board, they still will, providing you've let it dry thoroughly, then they will pop out. It's easier with the bigger pieces than the smaller pieces, but they push out fairly evenly. You do need to be careful when you're using the smaller, more delicate areas. Now I don't want mine to stay this sort of muddy brown colour. I want it to look a little bit more industrial. So I have picked my metallic pearl Durantica, which is K3P15M, and a brush that is quite simply magic, KR86, because that will allow me to just dab that off and then add a coating of this black pearl wax to the brown piece as an undercoat, and it will make it, I don't want it to cover all of the brown, but I want it to have an industrial feel, a little bit, so it looks more like a metal machine rather than just being painted up.
Yeah,
And
I like the fact you're giving it. It looks like an English train. It has this little fog on it. It's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that piece covered.
Okay.
Reasonably well. And then it's a question of taking our pieces and layering them. Now, if anyone's like me, if I push them all out and I'm not very careful, what will happen is I'll promptly forget where they all go, because that's part of life, isn't it? We have everything ready and we promptly forget where we want to put them. So I'm just going to, all I'm doing now is popping out these little circular bits.
That's very good if you're stressed, to pop out these little things with these instruments. It's really
maybe not quite something so sharp as my pokey tool. Quite often I'll actually use a scalpel, but then I am very used to having a scalpel in my hands, so maybe that's okay for me and maybe not quite so good for everyone else. And now I've got actually swapped from the Tarantica to Patina Anticanti in the bronze colour, because I wanted a slightly different tone adding to my piece, and that's K3P16B.
okay.
And all I'm going to do is, would help if you leave it open, catch the edges of these pieces, just give them, again, it's to add that metallic cover to what I'm doing rather than it all being sort of a single shade. And because I just think that if something's been lying around for a long time, it's not going to be the same color, is it? So so why have I stuck the Ultra Forte on my hand? Well, it's good as
we were wondering that.
exfoliant, I have to say, but actually if you spread it out, you get a thin layer, and then you can pop your pieces in place and hopefully then don't end up with masses of splurging out of glue everywhere. Having said that,
as a legal representative of the company, I don't suggest putting it on your skin. If you want to do it, you can do it, but we don't suggest it.
If I had the craft glue with a nozzle, then I would probably opt to use that. But this works fine, and actually, I've never had a problem. But I think if you're right, if you have very sensitive skin or you're prone to allergies, it's not what it's intended for. That is
exactly.
For sure.
No, that's what I meant. I'm not saying that anything happens, but just in case, I am not endorsing it. Okay.
No, I think that's perfectly reasonable, isn't it? It's not what you want to have on your skin. It's not what the product was designed for. It's just an easy way of actually adding glue to intricate pieces. And I think probably many crafters will actually already do it.
Absolutely.
So I've now got a whole mountain of little pizza triangles to push out of the way. And of course there are 4 wheels, so we could be at this for a little while, which is perhaps not the most exhilarating of viewing, but hey ho. Right. But I do find that painting, it definitely saves time painting them in the grey board base that they come in, rather than actually then painting them separately, and it's actually less messy for your hands altogether, she says, having made a mess of the hands with the glue.
All right. Yeah, and it is also a nice feeling to peel it off your skin after it dries.
Yes, I'm sure every adult has spent hours at school messing with kiddies craft glue and then peeling it off the hands. I think it's just one of those childhood pleasures, isn't it, to do something like that, even if it might not be what the teachers would necessarily recommend. There we are.
I always get scared when people call the antiquing paste the brown toothbrush. And I have to be like, careful, guys. We can call it that. That's where it stops. Anyway, good, good, good. So,
So go on. So all I'm going to do now is add a layer of some more of the bronze antiquing paste to these and stick them in place. So if there's other things you want to do, then that's cool. There we are. I think, Giovanni, you're now selling packs of cogs, metal cogs, aren't you? So the smart eye, eagle-eyed will have seen that I've actually used some cogs, some metal gears on my pigs, but I think that you've now got them in stock, haven't you? So that makes life easy for everyone. They can just go and get the pieces that you've already got in that coordinate and that will be the correct sizes to work. So now all I'm going to do is attach these pieces on. And for the balloon and some of the other pieces, I literally just did the same thing. I added my layers. Now I've got a little degree of OCD. So for me, I need these with one of the spindles going vertically. Doesn't matter that this glue is splurging out a bit, because ultimately it will dry clear. And because I've got the metallic on here anyway, a little bit of sheen from the glue really isn't going to matter very much. It'll add to the texture. You can be more careful. You'll obviously take your time if it's when you're doing it for yourself. But there we are. That's it, and that piece goes up there. So now we have that. And
I'm disappearing for a second because I received some messages from the sales department because I have shops asking about the new Alice pad because somebody wrote them during the live and the shops are already trying to buy it now. So
you mentioned it. You mentioned it.
But it was what, 15 minutes ago, and I already have.
Know, but people want to know what you're doing and what you have, and they're all waiting for the next things because crafters have to have everything. That's just part of life. I will carry on crafting away quite happily. Do not worry. I can push these little pieces out, and these are the most fiddly pieces, the little white metal pipes, I think. And there's me having told Sam yesterday in a message that I hadn't got a pipe in sight. Well, sorry, Sam, I clearly was not quite accurate with what I said, because I do have two tiny pieces that are meant to be like pipes. So I apologise. There we are. Now you can, of course, empty your Ultra 40 glue quite nicely into a fine tip applicator to make life easier for precise gluing, particularly when it comes to things like the wing, which has got lots of thin areas that need to be stuck down.
Okay.
That needs to go flat. I've painted this the wrong colour because I'm a numpty, so this should actually be the pale colour, but by the time I add some wax, I'm sure it won't actually matter. But there we are. Turn it round. So that sits neatly into there. There we are. And we have two little cogs. So one can go there.
I like how you're reproducing the collection's wings on the pad, because in Voyage Fantastique there is trains with wings. Very nice.
I like to have everything that, things that coordinate and tell a story. At least, things are that them look cohesive, rather than it all being hodgepodge and a mismatch of different things. Even if someone thinks I've used a random collection, there's usually some thought in it. And then to my top layer, I'm going to add some of the metallic gold Tarantica, which is K3P15G. Now you can either add this with your fingers onto the top, or it's just to add just another metal colour to adds a little bit more detail. There we are. And I'm going to work backwards a little bit so that I've got, again, so I've got some mixture, so it's not just all flat on one thing. And having got a lot of that tucked underneath there, the advantage of a brush is I can then go through and I can blend it all in so that we add into it. There we are. Yeah. Right, so let's get some lids on these, otherwise we will have a pickle. There we are. So now we can take the front of our cover, and before we do that, I've taken one of the tags from the 12 by 12 section. The one on my front cover, on my original, actually came from the collectibles, but I didn't have 2 packs of those. So, but the one from the 12 by 12 pad is actually quite a good size. So I'm just literally going to wriggle my way around that. Doesn't have to be terribly precise. I actually quite like fussy cutting, but I totally get that it's really not everyone's bag. It's what suits you, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yes, it's all about yourself and how you feel in the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the headaches with doing things like the lives is that you prep everything, you make a piece, and then you have to, so you know where you're going, and then you have to make it all again. And I absolutely hate making anything more than once, but that's just life, isn't it? So when you're putting your train onto the front of your album, you need to make sure that you line it up with the bottom of the cardboard, because if you have it laying flat, you've got the gusset for the book still down here, and if you line it up with the gusset, then the book won't function properly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and afterwards I will almost certainly need to add a little bit of paint to the back parts of some of these pieces where they're showing from behind. But, so glue we have, plenty.
I really like the way you put the glue as well. It has some artistic value as well.
Thank
It's a
you.
different look of
It's
the
just
glue.
making sure I've got enough everywhere to hopefully make it stick. This needs to be a piece that has a is going to be picked up and put down, and therefore I think it's important that when you're constructing things like this, that it actually has a degree of stability and quality about it, rather than just tacked together. So I've lined my train up along the bottom, and I want to put my man tucked behind. So he's going to go in there. We're just going to squash him down, and I'm going to give that a good push, and that glue will grab quite quickly. And then we've got some other pieces. So you can then add a piece of paper. I've used one of the chipboard die cuts. This one is actually a paper cut from one of the pages, actually, rather than from the collectibles.
Okay.
So that can go onto there, and that then completes the front cover. And of course you can add glossy stuff, whatever you've got, to the clocks and the glasses, so that it adds a little bit of shine, another degree of texture, and a little bit more stability. And then this is what I mean by I would need to add some paint to the back, but I will do that after the live. And now I've got my balloon, and it's the same set of instructions. You see, this one I did remember to paint along the back, so this will not be such a problem. And when I painted this, I used exactly the same colours, the same waxes as I did for the train. I just didn't think that people would want to sit here while I painted the whole lot. Because
do we want to sit here through the painting? I can wait. I know some of the biggest fans, they're going to be here for the next hours, so no worries.
How long have we been, Giovanni?
Around an hour.
Okay, cool. That's cool. And then at this point you can add, so on my original you can see that I've added chipboard elements from the die cut chipboards, but you can add whatever extras you happen to have lying around. So now we have the base of our album constructed.
Okay.
In with the balloon. No, in with the train, you get a set of chipboard with a flag and the words Bon Voyage. And so I'm going to now add this. I will show you where this gets added. It doesn't need glue everywhere, because this piece is going to tuck in on that back cover at the back. So literally in front of that last envelope, and it needs to be reasonably centralized, and that can sit there and glue in place. Okay,
beautiful.
And I've got some little cogs that I will tuck in. That's going to tuck into there. We'll squash that in place. And I'm using leftover cogs from the Numbers and Gears chipboard set from by Antonis for the Vagabond collection. But you can use whichever ones you have. So the next thing I did was construct lots of inserts. Now they will take us an awful long time, because there's 10 pages So we can start with some of those, but we might not get through all of them. But I thought I would add the pieces I've added at my side, because again, if we look at my original piece, it's got tucked in at the edges, we've got tags, clocks, cogs, airships, all adding to the extra, to the dimension and making this piece quite tactile. Yeah. So that.
Yes.
And that was just literally, it was a question of actually picking up the pieces I had, working out what I wanted, and just tucking them in. So I've got a pre-cut Radovan style collection of pieces, and these were literally bits that were left from my making. They weren't, some from the die cut, some cut from scraps of paper, and all I'm going to do is tuck them in so that I'm leaving a little piece tucked out the side. Doesn't need to be a lot. Again, I would ink all of these pieces if I was making it with unlimited amounts of time, because it just takes quite a long time to add all of these bits in. Adding all of the inking to everything takes its own time. So now I've got a little balloon, and it really doesn't matter where these go. It's just a question of adding them so that you're happy with your looks. We've got cog, die cut. So I'm going to pop that up here so it's partly out, and I might think I might have another one of those tucked underneath there, so another piece from the die cut. I'll tuck that in a little bit further. It just all adds little by little to the interest of my piece. And you don't have to think hugely about what you're doing. You just need to add things as they seem to fit for you. So this little piece actually comes from the front cover of the magazine, of the packet. So you really don't have to waste anything with what you're doing. And all I'm doing is trying to make sure that my pieces are staggered so that they're not one on top of each other. There's no point in putting something in to your piece and then promptly covering it up completely. It's there. You might as well at least use it, see it, enjoy it, as opposed to covering everything. And so on. So that's just another piece of that. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because if I tuck this on its side, I'm going to break the end of my die cut. So just be my train. So you just need to be slightly careful with what you're doing when you're adding these. But again, left in the privacy of your own home with all the time in the world, then actually it won't matter. I've got of cogs here, and some of these can also be added in and layered. Just make sure when you're popping all of these little bits in that you don't inadvertently seal any of your pockets, because you'll not be happy with yourself.
All right, because then it could be sealed forever. I see.
Yes. Okay. And it's probably not what you want, really.
Probably not. Probably.
With the balloon chipboard, you get a little sign that says balloon, so that's been made up and again added in the same way. And that can go just tucked in there. And it doesn't matter if it covers the opening, as long as you don't seal the opening, and it doesn't matter if it pokes out the side. So you just carry on quite happily adding all of these pieces till you're happy, or you've used up all of your bits and pieces. It's really about what you like the look of rather than anything else. We'll put that one in there. There we are. So we say I would carry on and I would add to each of those pieces, little by little by little, just watching what I'm doing, like that.
Wow.
So that then creates the base, and we only say you can layer and layer and layer. So do you want me to make some of the inside pieces now?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
If you're up to it, I'm
I've got it. I have it all prepped. Let me just clear this mess because the wax will go everywhere. That is for sure. And my hands are now horribly sticky, so I need to just do a little bit of de-sticking, because otherwise I'm going to have glue with wax clogging up my fingers. So, excuse the rattling because I put all of the pages into envelopes to make my life easier.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see where we get to with these, because the whole project comes together once you've done it. So I measured the depth of my pockets, and one of these. So this piece is 12.5 centimeters wide and 17.5 centimeters high. And then the little pieces that I cut off from the front page when I started, I just used as a guide for cutting the corners. Okay. And then I have a piece of paper from this one comes from the 8x8, and I've just trimmed it down at the edges. And if I put that on there, I'm clearly going to lose my tag shape, but all I'm going to do is turn it over, lift it up a little bit, and now make sure it's central. And I've got that little bit. And all I need to do now to get the right angle, hopefully have a perfect match, is cut the edges. And then when I turn it over and drop it down, I've got an angle that matches there or thereabouts.
Okay.
And fits my tag nicely. So.
Apologies for the background sounds, but Massimo is giving a present to Lucrezia and she's refusing it.
So, and both of these tags are the same size. So there we are.
Okay.
And then we have the same for the back. So we pop it forward up a little bit, make sure it's reasonably in the center.
Mm-hmm. Massimo, can you go back to sleep? No. Okay. Okay.
There we are. And again, edging that would be lovely, but we'll not bother for now. And you can see this piece is actually
I
back.
always like to see when you use the back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I will actually cut out these little pieces of the replicas of the papers, and I will actually use those as embellishments because they work beautifully in small albums as tiny decorative features. So there's not a scrap of paper in any of the pads that that could possibly go to waste.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose if you wanted to, not use it all, you could, but there really isn't a reason why why you should have stuff that goes to waste. And then for the tag pulls and to add some extra height to the book, I've got taken the cogs, the clocks. I've not got the patience of Radovan to cut out all of the gears, but you could do that. But I think if you're making a pull, then actually the cogs wouldn't work as well as all of the clocks. And the collectibles pad has a full page of the clocks, and the 8x8 and the 8x8 and the 12x12 both have pages with them on, so it becomes then very easy. So this is one I pre-inked So I think you'll see that it actually, for me, looks more finished. And I made a boo-boo when I was cutting this, and I should be completely honest. So it's a bit short at the top, but I didn't have another piece. So we will, I think in the grand scheme of things, it won't matter. But it's about...
I wanted to show you why sometimes I sound distracted, other than just the sales team and the marketing team. Sometimes we also have Massimo who wants to go out for running. Okay.
Oh. Well, it's just life, isn't it? Animal, we all love our animals. They need to be looked after. And being a responsible pet owners means that they have to be exercised. And there's no point in having an animal or as a pet if you're not prepared to put the time, effort, and energy into making sure that they are looked after.
Absolutely.
Because
but
that's
even
just not fair on them.
Yeah. Even if we go run together in the morning, it's not enough for him. He has so much more time than us.
I think most dogs need to be. So all I've done is tuck that into one of my pages. I'm going to stick another one in at the front. The front pocket is the smallest pocket of these. So that's
they're different sizes, the pockets?
No, the pockets, they're all made from the same size base, but the front pocket, because of the way it's attached to the album or the base pieces, doesn't open as much as the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it doesn't take a folded up card. The smart-eyed amongst us will have realised that having used a lot of envelopes, actually depends a bit on how you buy your envelopes, I guess. But quite often we will have we have to buy our envelopes with cards together.
Okay, yeah.
So having used a whole mountain of envelopes for my album, I then had a lot of 6x6 cards, and so I thought, what can I do with those? And of course, they make excellent mats. You could use them as literally as cards and give the whole thing for people to then to use the inside as cards, or you could you've then created lots of spaces where actually you could put lots and lots of photographs. So this is literally just a 6x6 card.
Okay.
This is from the 12x12 paper pad, and all I've done is cut these 0.5 centimetre smaller than the base of the card, so that they fit nicely with a little border around them.
Okay.
So we've got 12x12 paper, but I'm actually going to use this neutral background for reasons that will become clear. And then we're going to do a little bit more playing with some stamps, including several sets that are possibly quite old now. We'll make the cover first and then we'll do that. There we are. One of the joys of wet glue is that it gives you some wriggle room, and it also sticks quite quickly. Okay. So that's that covered. For the front of here, I've got one of the corner pieces from the cogs, from the Numbers and Gears chipboard set. Just going
Everybody's
to
talking about a collection with horses. That would be a nice idea. Okay, sorry. Let me close it. Okay.
Yeah, if you like horses, it would be a lovely idea. Depends on everyone's likes and dislikes, doesn't it, and preferences. This is a piece from the die cut chipboard set.
Yeah.
And because I've added the cog piece, I actually need to add some pieces behind it to lift it up. So all I've done is taken scraps of card
Okay.
and layered several together just to give me that depth. It's still going to be too big. Put that on there. And then we've got, so that can then go onto there. Okay. And then you can add more or less, or a sentiment or a set of words, really up to you. And for the inside of that, I have got a piece of white smooth stamping card that is a centimetre smaller than my main piece, so that it will act as a mat, and a whole collection of different stamps, because I'm lucky enough to have some of the older sets of stamps. So I've got a beautiful flourish stamp.
Nice, very beautiful.
From this collection, which is an old collection of stamps, and you could use any of the other elements in it, and that is YTKCC 140.
YTKCC 140. All right, there we go.
And somewhere around, there's my stamp, and I'm actually going to use this on an acrylic block. And I like to layer some of my stamps, so I'm just going to stamp this around the corners. There we are.
Very nice.
And then I'm going to layer lots of different ones into it, so that I'm not using all of the same. And then it doesn't matter if you don't quite get it off, completely on the page, or off the page. It allows you the flexibility to have the edges. So that's with a dark brown ink. And then I have one of your more recent stamps. This is Tapestry, and I think it's in the wrong envelope. So I'm not going to give you the number, because I am absolutely sure I've tucked it into its wrong envelope, because I've also got the word set that comes in a similar size. And all I'm doing, having inked my stamp, is adding and using up my ink around my page, layering it up. If I want to add any more, I can do from that one. And and finally, I have a little star stamp, which is from the Cosmos collection, YTKCC-R06.
YTKCC-R06.
R06.
Yeah. Because it's Christina Radovan's collection.
Aha.
The R is for Radovan.
Aha. Very good. And then I'm just adding a grey ink to this one and randomly stamping. So I've got first, second, third generation stamps all the way through. But obviously take as much time as you feel, a little bit more thought maybe. And then you've got the layer. And I've got some more here that I've prepared already.
Very nice.
So you can get a collaged effect that then looks quite nice. And then again, for these, I would absolutely, just as I've got the ink in my hand, edge them with some of the ink that's there. And this way, you've now got an area that someone could write in if they want to, or you can add your photographs onto.
Okay.
There we are. So that can go into there. So it just allows you then to have a play with all of the things that are in your stash. And you'll have noticed that I really, although I've started with a base of one set of papers, I've then looked in my cupboard to find what other things across other collections will work. And having completed that card, it will now slot into its envelope with a little bit of a wriggle. There we are. So that goes in there. And so we carry on to make enough pieces to fill all of the pockets. So I have more stuff in front of me than I know what to do with. So let's get that out of the way. Okay. So this is a slightly different form of making a tag, and I've reverted to that would be a card. So this is a standard A6 card.
Yes.
Measures 10.5 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and I want to make a pocket. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue.
Okay.
Along the edges. And squash it together. Okay. Then I've put from my paper pad papers that work for me. But I'm going to add these on top. In fact, before I do that, I've forgotten one important step before I do that, because otherwise it will make life difficult putting that. So what I've done here is made my pocket.
Okay.
And I've taken one of my clogs and I've put it almost in the center. And drawn around it. Yeah. And this way, I'm going to make a little hole opening, and I'm doing it on both sides. You could, because I find that easier. But it's entirely up to you. And then I need to.
I love how precise you are. You can really see your background.
Things I do are done because they're relatively easy. I don't do difficult, that's for sure. But I have learned lots of shortcuts over time to make my life easy. So these are the two pieces that are going to go front and back. And you can put a piece out of these. And again, take your time. Make it as precise as you can. You want to be, if you're going to spend a lot of time making a piece, then really you want to be as proud of it as possible. So I would mess around for a lot longer, make sure I had stuff really even and lined up, but this will do as much as we can for the moment. And we're going to repeat on the back. And I've made, as I say, I haven't lined that up wonderfully well, but you get the idea.
It is perfect in my eyes. I can see you. Not so perfect, but almost. Okay.
Yeah, it's not brilliantly lined up, but it will do. It will do.
It will do.
Okay, so then we need a tag for the inside. That will fit inside. So this piece is going to go in here and poke out the top. So this piece is 8.5 centimeters wide and 16 centimeters long. And conveniently, that fits this piece that I used the rest of on another page, and it was an offcut. And that's how I decided on the size of this tag. It was purely that I had a piece of paper this size. Okay. It doesn't matter what size the tag is, it just needs to fit in your pocket. That can go there. We've got another piece from the 8x8 pad. And I have to say, at the end of this, I had used an entire, literally every last scrap of an 8x8 pad, and about half of the 22-page Voyages Fantastic paper collection. So this is undoubtedly a product heavy piece of work. It's not something that takes a little amount of product. So this is one of the toppers from the 8x8 pad. So I've cut my card 6.5 by 10 centimeters, and we'll do that on top. And how you layer, how you decorate, what you add, really doesn't really matter. It's about what you're going to be happy with, rather than having a set idea about where we're going. There we are. We're going to cover that mess by putting that slightly higher, and then that will be less distracting and less irritating to me, because right. And because
I like the emphasis on irritating. I completely understand you.
I like things to look professional, and but sometimes you just, if you're doing things more quickly, this project actually took me 2 days to come up with and make. Now, to be fair, I wasn't crafting for every minute of that time. I did sleep and I did have breaks. I have children and a husband to look after, but even so, you do have to sort of think about things, and just take the time to construct things in the way that you're happening. Some of the papers have little words in them, and there's more in the collectibles pack. So I've just literally cut out some of these. We're going to add them as decoration. So adventure for those who dream is awaiting. And I think that's a very good sentiment, because clearly it's good to have dreams and ideas and aspirations. And life really should be an adventure.
One quote says adventure, and the other one says?
For those who dare to dream.
Okay.
Yeah, adventure for those who dare to dream is waiting.
Very nice.
Yeah. And that goes into there. And then we have something for pocket number 4. Now, Giovanni, I think that I'm going to stop now. I have got pockets for all of the others, but what I will do is because I was asked to do this by one of your UK retailers, that's Crafty, and they have a regular blog.
I have the accounting department asking me. Yes, Sarah, tell me. See, the accounting meetings we were talking about just walked in. Ciao. Dopo scendo. Okay.
So I have because that's Crafty Distribute. They also have a blog that goes out on a Wednesday, and so I will blog all of my other card makes. This is one of them. So it's just a simple gatefold made with 2 of the A6 cards, matted and lead, but it's the same sort of process that I've used for all of the other pieces. So rather than demonstrating them all live, I will write those up as a blog, because then all of the measurements will be there for people to go and have a look at, and they can then download or print off the measurements as they want. So this is just a card that I've glued shut. I've taken a smaller envelope, I've added some tags, die cut chipboard elements, And on this side, I've repeated it, but this time I've used one of Antonis's stencils on my pocket to add a little bit of interest to it. What else have we got in here?
And because everybody wants to see more of you, everybody loved your project. You did such a splendid performance here. We said everybody can find you as Gill Humphrey or the crafty surgeon, which I wrote surgeon like in the army before, and instead is surgeon.
Yeah.
And Linda shared the link to your group. So later on, we will share it again so that everybody can come find you. Okay?
I can do that. So this is another card that I've done. Background pieces, some splatters with the graphite and the gold aqua colors. A little bit of lace that happened to be sitting on the table.
Okay.
And tags and another one of the stamp backgrounds. So I've used the same products and the same process all the way through, so that each of my pockets is then full with something where you can either write or add add ephemera or add photographs to. So I think that for today that's enough, because probably been whittering on for way too long as it is. Is that okay?
It's absolutely fine. As you've seen, there was the CFO that just walked in, and she was like, "Oh, come over. We have to discuss some stuff." So don't worry. I really appreciate being here with you. So, and then I also have my other colleague here who wants to go out for a walk.
Do you want me to turn my camera around, Giovanni?
Yes, please. Yes, please. So we can go through a couple other things. Yes. So this is Gill's group. You can find the link here. All right. Meanwhile, let me put on the calendar days coming up, because we have today, it's me and Gill. And let me take away the camera. So today is me and Gill. Then tomorrow, we have Atelier with Monica Paruta and Omar. Everybody go watch it. It's going to be a great day. Then Lab Stamp with techniques of Belinda and Omar. Here we have Flowery Heart with Anna Lebienec. And I will be hosting it, I think. Or maybe Lucrezia. I have to double check on that. Then we have Viva la Vida with Sarah Cubendas and John Paper. And on Saturday, the French episode with Monica Paruta and Constant Buzidi. All right. So welcome back.
Hi. Sorry.
Oh, no. You know, I just realized something. You know that we have this little division between our fans. There are the very precise ones, and there are the very dirty ones, the very messy hands ones. And you are such a perfect combination of the two, because you
I've got messy hands, Giovanni.
What's right?
I do have messy hands.
You do, but you're also very precise. You're not. So that's what impressed me. This combination of the two words. Really, congratulations.
I like to be precise, and I like lots of layers, and I like lots of detail. So, yeah, it's good.
So,
but at the end of the day, crafting should make you happy, and you should do what you like to do.
Absolutely. So, let's go to the thing that makes everybody happy, which is the pizza box. Now,
oh, yeah. Now, I've won one of those, and I have to say, they're brilliant.
So now we're testing a new kind of box, which is protected against the water. And today, one of my tasks was to fill a pizza and put it in the shower and open the water and test how it goes. And it's waterproof. So, so Lucrezia.
Now, the other thing it has to be is squash proof, because it doesn't.
Good afternoon. Let me see.
Perfect. Who won today?
Celia Queridinha.
Where is she from?
Spain.
Spain. Perfect. So Celia, good job. You won a pizza box. Sorry, Gill, what were you saying?
So it's brilliant. I've won one of the pizza boxes and they are absolutely crammed. Apart from being waterproof, though, they need to be post office and transit people proofed. They get thrown around. I wouldn't like to say that they're stomped on, but sometimes when the packages arrive, you think they probably have. But your box arrived absolutely intact with me, so that's great. And congratulations to the winner. There'll be lots of people now who are very envious of her. But all they can do is like and share the video as much as they can, and as often as they can, and maybe that'll be their time next week.
Yes. Let me show you just one more time the two big novelties of today, which are the contest starting soon and the new collection coming out tomorrow and to the shops later on. But okay, so let's go back to us. And Gill, thank you so much for being with us. It was such a beautiful experience. We really enjoyed having you here. Anything you want to say to the fans to close up?
I'd like to say thank you to everyone who left supportive messages. I've only ever done 2 other lives in small groups and never anything using StreamYard. So the technology was worrying me, and I had loads of people, particularly Belinda, who contacted me and helped me through that. And of course to Omar as well, who as always is happy to help with dealing with my nerves and getting everything set up for me.
Excellent. And with that, I would put the outro and goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much, Gill, for being with us.
Goodbye and stay safe, everyone.